Welcome to Fitz Factor, the show where you learn how to master the stock market with Dan Fitzpatrick, the stock market mentor. Dan is a savvy trader. He's featured regularly on Fox Business, CNBC, Investors Business Daily, and SiriusXM Radio. In this podcast, Dan shares his insights on trading, life, and attaining long-term success in the market.
It's important that you know what your typical time frame is. And this is one of the biggest problems that people have. It's one of the things I'll be addressing in a couple weeks. Problem that people have is they don't exactly know why they're trading. They don't exactly know why they're in the trade that they make. And the reason is because they don't really have a strategy, or they do have a strategy, but it's not consistent with their emotions, with their mindset. And so you could decide that you want to be a particular type of trader. And I know this, I've lived this. I just want to be a trader to hold for bigger positions, bigger moves. That's what I want to be. Okay, well then, why am I selling stocks for a profit at 5% and selling them for losses at 2%? That's not what a longer term trader does. So, and that had happened to me. And then, so at that point, I just have to say, well, you know what? Maybe I'm not the kind of trader I want to be. Okay, now you have a choice. You can choose to say, you know what? I just want to be a better version of who I am. I want to be a better trader. I want to be a better version of the type of trader that I am right now. So you accept the fact that this is the way you trade, and you go, well, I'm going to do a better job at that. That's one choice. Your other choice could be, okay, well, I'm not the kind of trader that I want to be, but you know what? I can see that there's more money to be made by becoming the type of trader that I want to be. And then you focus on making changes to become that type of trader, and not to get too deep into the weeds. But the way you do that is trade super small or even paper trade, because you're going, this is not natural for me. It's not a natural thing for me. So I'm going to kind of train myself without subjecting myself to big emotional swings. So these are things that every trader has to do. Like, as a lot of you guys know, I'm pretty good friends with Mark Minervini. He trades the way he espouses, but he also trades in other ways too, to jack up his performance. He'll have very, very short-term trades where he'll make, he'll pile in on something and then sell it very, very quickly. And that's not what he espouses. But the point is, when I first met Mark, and I've been to, I think, 3 of his classes, it's been a while since, because you realize after a while, you know what? I learned, for the most part, same thing that I learned last year. Great course. I highly recommend anybody take it. I think it's $5 or $6 grand. But what I realized after a while is, you know what? I'm not that kind of trader. I'm not comfortable buying breakouts on generally extended stocks. I couldn't even say that, but I'm not comfortable doing exactly what he is doing. I need to see something different. And I'm not going to go into exactly what that is, but I'm just saying, like, I would look at that and say, okay, I want to be this type of trader because he does really well, but that doesn't really suit my personality, but it's close. And so I take what from him and from his books. The books are excellent. You definitely should read them. I annotate them. They're awesome. But I take the things from him that work for me. I don't just go, oh, well, that doesn't work for me. No, you can learn something useful from anything. From the worst book in the world, you can learn something useful, even if it's, well, now I know what not to do. But I will take the things from him and the things that I've learned that work for me, and I will incorporate them into other things that I do, other ways that I look at trading. And I tend to be more of a pullback buyer as opposed to a breakout buyer. And then I like to add on the breakouts. That's the way I trade. It's more natural for me because I came from not having any money at all. And I don't want to be buying at all-time highs. It's just, even though buying at all-time highs is a good way to trade, because guess what? Stocks tend to not make one all-time high. They tend to keep making a boatload of them. And so what does that mean? Price keeps going up. That's one way to trade. It's just not my way. So I'm focusing on doing what I want to do the best way that I can. And that means taking something from anybody and using it to become ultimately a better version of who I am.
If you're getting value from this podcast, click the subscribe button and sign up for Dan's free daily videos at stockmarketmentor.com.
I'm working on this course. And so these are the types of things that are at the top of my mind, or as they say now, at top of mind. So I think that's the new deal.
I think that's real powerful, Dan, because I believe you can learn something from everybody. That's what it takes to create your own trading system. I like this from here. I like that from this guy. Hey, you know what? This lady does something really interesting. And then you build your system from there. So I think what you said is really important for people to hear.
And the thing is, it's really hard. It's next to impossible to take who you are in any activity and make this radical change to where everything that you were, and we'll just talk about trading, but you could talk about this in any aspect of your life, to take everything that you were and go, no, I'm going to throw that away. And I'm going to be totally different. That is such a hard thing to do. It's next to impossible because it requires such massive changes in what you have to do. The better way and the more attainable way to become better at what you do is to say, okay, this is who I am. This is how I trade. I want to just become a better version of who I am. I don't want to change that many things. It's Atomic Habits, man. Read the book. It's awesome. I don't want to change everything. I just want to change one thing, and that'll work for me. And then I'll change another thing, and that'll work for me. So you just focus on being a little better version of what you are right now, because that's doable. If you want to lose weight, don't decide you're going to lose 20 pounds or 30 pounds or 40 pounds. 1 pound. Anybody can lose 1 pound, but just say, that's what I want to do. And so gradually you change your way just a little bit at a time. And then over time, you realize that you've actually really become healthier than you were before. 1 pound at a time. No crash diet, no massive changes in your diet. You can, I do. I can do that. But I'm kind of rare that way. And also Thanksgiving really screws me up, especially when there's guests around. But if you can just do 1 pound at a time, one bad habit at a time in your trading, you're going to find that gradually you're on your way. And the thing about success is it's not a destination. It's the process of getting there. You can be, and it's really important to know that trading success, I guess, probably a better word. It's a spectrum. It's like mental illness. Some would say, well, frickin' what we do is some kind of mental illness. But if you have autism or some kind of diminished intellectual capacity or bipolar disorder or schizophrenia, there's not like one thing. Oh, it's like the measles. Oh, you have the measles. I can see the bumps. Okay. That's not a spectrum. But these other things that I've just discussed, those are spectrums. And so you have to accept the fact that you're on the spectrum And wherever you are on the spectrum, you have to say, okay, well, here's the spectrum and I'm over here. I just kind of want to get up here a little bit more. And when you start moving along in the right direction on that spectrum, dude, you're successful right there. You're successful. Oh, I want to make $1 million, or I want to make this or that. Wrong goal. If you change, if you focus on making these little changes and creep along on the spectrum, the money's going to be a consequence of that. But if you just have this big, massive, big, hairy goal of making X amount of dollars, then you think about it. Then aren't you a failure? Aren't you unsuccessful until you actually reach that level? And here's the thing, I hate to tell you this, but if money's your goal, it's a crappy goal because there's never enough of it. Like I remember when my first benchmark, once I started doing really well, was 7 figures. That's where I won't even say $1 million. That's what I want. I want to be worth $1 million. That would be like, oh my God, this would be awesome. From the couch to the bank, $1 million. And then I hit that goal. What do you think I did? I didn't celebrate. I'm going, let's go for 2. Okay. Or whatever. So the point is, I felt a sense of satisfaction, but then immediately I went on to the next thing. So it wasn't satisfying. It was just hitting a milestone, but it wasn't like, yay for me. But if you're looking at your trading behavior as a spectrum, all you want to be is just a little bit better. You got all these bad habits, and there is a finite number of bad habits, and you don't have all of them. You'll have 2, maybe 3 that you make the same mistake again and again and again. And if you want to be further along on that spectrum, the first step is understanding all the different habits, then understanding which ones describe you, and then learning how to fix those habits, each of them individually, but little by little. And what you will find is that you are, just as a consequence of going through that process, you will find that you're moving further along the spectrum and you feel successful because every day you take a step forward, you're better than you were. You're further along the journey than you were. So these are just things, like I'm telling you, you really got to keep this in mind if you truly want to get to where you're trying to get.
Thanks for listening to Fitz Factor with Dan Fitzpatrick. If you like this, then you'll love Dan's premium service at stockmarketmentor.com, where you can learn how to trade stocks, options, and cryptocurrencies. Click the link below and get access to real-time trading alerts, a community of traders just like you, and live training sessions